What's up guys, I wanted to give you a more detailed instructional video on how to navigate the machine. So when you first get it, what you're going to want to do is plug in your Xbox 360 receiver if you're using an Xbox 360 controller. And once you do that, go ahead and turn the machine on. If when you get into Windows, the machine does not recognize the 360 controller, you're going to want to install the drivers, and I'll leave a link to that below. So once you turn it on, it's going to bring you to your main menu system here. And as you can see, this is where you select all of the different consoles and all of the different emulators that you have access to. Let's say you go into MAME here, Arcade Classics. Then at this point, you're getting a list of all of the games, and you can just scroll through all of them, but there's a lot of them. So to make it easier, you can hold the joystick to the right, and you can go alphabetically and go down to a specific letter. You can also browse by category or by favorites. So let's go ahead and show you that. We're back in the games here, and we're going to go ahead and take a look at the categories here. Okay, here we go. So as you can see, you have baseball, you have basketball. You can just go through all the different categories. You have the fighter games. So let's take a look at those. And there you go. It brings you right into all the fighter games. And you can also navigate alphabetically here. So let's see if we can go down and find Street Fighter, for example. There you go, and if you scroll down, you can see that all of the Street Fighters will be here in one place. There you go, starting with Street Fighter 1 and going all the way up through all the different variations. Okay, let's go back once, and let's show you the favorites. And this is something that you can add games to, that we have a nice short list of all your favorites, and it's going to be a favorites list per console, so it's not a general favorites list. So let's go ahead and actually let me show you how to add a game real quick. So let's say you want to add this game. You just make sure it's selected. You go ahead and select the favorites, and you just go down and hit add to favorites. Then next time when you go to view favorite games, it's going to be right there waiting for you. As you can see, I've already added some of my favorite games here. And you can see that I have a bunch of classic games on here, and this just gives you a nice quick way to access your games without having to scroll through the whole list, because even alphabetically it still takes a long time sometimes to find a game. Now, as far as how to navigate the system using the different controllers, whether you're using the X Arcade stick or whether you're using the Xbox 360 controller, I'm going to make another video showing you how to do that. Actually, one video for each. This one, I'm going to make one on how to program it, and this one I'm going to make one on how to actually use the different buttons to navigate through the systems and through the main menu here. Now, one thing to keep in mind is that not all of the games are going to work. About 95% or so will, but there are a few games that will not work. It's impossible for me to fish out all of the games that are not working. And to show you a quick example of that, I'm going to go to Pac-Man, and I'm going to try and play a game that I know does not work. So we're going to go ahead and try to start this game. And as you can see, nothing is going to happen. Now, you do have to be patient with some of the systems, because something like PlayStation is going to take a little bit longer than an older system like this, which should pretty much start up right away. And as you use the machine more, you're going to get used to that, and you're going to get a feel for it. But for example, this game right here should pretty much start right away, and nothing's happening. So now if you try to go and play another game, it's also not going to work, and it's going to get frustrating, right? So one thing you can do is you can restart the machine, but that takes longer. So you're basically going to want to do a Control-Alt-Delete, or in my case, a Control-Shift-Escape, which is a quicker way to get straight into the task manager. And another point is you always want to keep a keyboard nearby, just because you will have some glitches that happen once in a while. After all, it is running on Windows. So basically, it's a good idea to have one by, just in case something like this happens. So getting back to the task manager here, we're going to go ahead and go down to Hyper Launch. Right there you have Hyper Launch and you have Hyper Spin. You're going to want to end the process on Hyper Launch, because that's what's actually keeping you from being able to play the other games. And let's end the process on that one. And then let's get out of the task manager. And once you do that, you can go ahead and select any other game you want to play. And as you can see, that one just came up right away, as it should. And it's telling you to press any key to continue, so let's do that. Now, once you're in a system like this one, where it requires you to insert coins, You're gonna want to do that by pressing the side button here on the X arcade stick. And as you can see, it's going for, I just inserted 3 credits there. And then I'm gonna go ahead and press the player 1 start button, and you're pretty much off and running. Alright guys, let's take a look at another game that uses coins, and I'm gonna switch over to the Xbox 360 controller for this one. And we're gonna go over to Arcade Classics. I'm gonna go to my favorite games. Then I'm gonna scroll over to T. And we're going to look for Ninja Turtles, which is right here. Let's do Ninja Turtles, Turtles in Time. Most games from MAME or Arcade Classics are gonna start up pretty quickly. And we're gonna go ahead and insert coins with the select button here. There you go, I'm inserting credits as you can see on the left there. And I'm gonna press start. Now for this one, most games are you press player 1 start button or the start button on the controller here. For this one, you just press one of the actual action keys like A or B, and that takes you right into the game.
This is April O'Neil reporting.
So we're gonna skip all this stuff and we're off and running. Just remember, guys, if you can, don't hook this computer up to the internet. Just keep it as a gaming PC, offline. If you do hook it up to the internet, you run the risks of getting viruses and you know, other malicious software that you really don't want on here, because it's really gonna mess with your setup and potentially just ruin the whole thing. So if you can, just leave it unplugged, you know, just play your games on it. There's plenty here to keep you entertained. And another thing also is don't make any changes to the software. If you're more technically inclined and you want to go in there and make changes, it's a good practice to just make a backup of the hard drive. That way, if anything goes wrong, you can just get right back to where you were before you started. All right, guys, that's going to be it. If you liked the video, leave a thumbs up below. Otherwise, see you next time.